"Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show," said a voice that came from the stage of a small theater.
"He's throwing his voice or using a microphone," muttered a bearded man with an Italian accent.
On the stage appeared the owner of the voice.
"He is using a trapdoor," the Italian muttered.
"I am Blake Fire," said the clean-shaven Australian magician.
Another magician appeared on stage in flames. He looked like a cross between a vampire and a magician.
"Trapdoor and pyrotechnics," said the Italian.
"And I am Max Starfire," said the vampire.
"My assistant."
"I'm your partner, Granddad."
Max was the husband of Blake's granddaughter. He was older than he looked.
"Max!"
Blake snapped back as he beckoned Max to come over to him. Blake removed his own top hat in a flourish. Max pulled a rabbit out of the hat, then opened the rabbit's mouth.
"No!"
Max pulled a hat out of the rabbit's mouth. It killed the rabbit.
"Not again. Bring down the curtains. The show's over."
"How did they do that?" the Italian asked.
Soon after, the Italian went to the theater's back door to meet the magicians. He wasn't alone. The fans and autograph hunters were there too.
"Mr. Alexander, how did you do the trick with the rabbit?" asked the Italian when Blake walked out of the stage door.
Blake was shaken.
"I am sorry if it distressed you. I've told him 1,000 times not to try to pull a hat from a rabbit. It only ever ends up with people trying to ban our show again."
"But how did you do it?" asked the Italian.
"A magician never reveals his secrets," said Blake reflexly.
"I'm a magician. I'm the Great Fognini," said the Italian, pronouncing his name as Fonini.
"Are serious? You are the great Fonini?" said Blake.
"Yes, I am Fabio Fognini, master magician and fraud debunker," said Fognini, pulling out a business card, giving it to Blake.
Blake read it.
"Oh, you are the great Fognini," said Blake. Recognizing his name, he was known as the Italian Houdini. Houdini found fakes and knew all tricks.
"Tell me how you did the trick."
It was just magic.
"Tell me, I have to know."
Magic!
Here, have a signed copy of Blake's book.
Max, I didn't sign them, and I haven't written any books either.
So sue me. Your son Tempest ghost wrote it, and I enchanted them to have your signature.
"Thank you for the book. Tell me how you did it."
It wasn't me.
As anyone would who was curious about something, Fognini read Blake's book. In it, he read that Blake devised his magic act in his office in his backyard. Fognini knew there was no way to get Blake to tell him how the trick was done, so he thought he'd break into the office and find his papers where he worked out the act, and he could read them. Fognini followed Blake home and snuck into the backyard of the home Blake and his wife shared. It was the most ethereal place that Fognini had ever seen, and it was larger than it seemed. It made him want to move on and on to the small castle in the back of it. He found an old wooden door, and he entered the door cautiously, making sure he was not seen. He found a large, dingy, Gothic office complex with many doors and tables with papers, quills sitting in bottles of black ink. Fognini knew he shouldn't be there, yet he knew he had to know the place's purpose, and why Blake had a large office complex in his backyard. He wandered around the building for a while till he heard a voice calling for help in a closed room. He thought it was a joke because it sounded like they were stuck in a dark room they could not leave. It was too cheesy. He thought the magician had caught him.
Fognini opened the door and fainted, and when he came around, a ghost was asking him if he was all right.
Fognini turned whiter than the ghost. The Italian ran down the corridor, being followed by the ghost asking him why he was running. He ran for what seemed like ages, and then ran into the oddest thing, which did not seem out of place. It was a man of flesh and bone.
The man fell over. The momentum of Fognini's running was so strong. "Who are you?" asked the man, standing up.
"He is the great Fognini," a voice behind him said. It was not the ghost.
"Oh my God, I'm sorry I broke in and I set the ghost free."
"Settle down, Freddy, he's scared." "Why is he here?" "I think he wants to know how Max pulled a hat out of a rabbit. He thought it was part of the act." "Oh no, did he try that again?" "Yes, Necromancer, he did." Fognini put two and two together and realized the man was the noted serial killer known as the Necromancer. He was in more danger. He didn't know who was worse, the ghost, the Reaper, or the serial killer. He crawled to an open door to escape, but a bony hand clasped his wrist and dragged him to his feet. "And may I ask, what is this?" "Let him go, Dante. He's just a scared fan of Dad's magic show." What is he doing in the afterlife? He's not dead. Dante released Fognini's wrist. The first Reaper looked like he was frowning in his attitude, but he had no eyes. I couldn't tell him how it was done, so he seems to have decided to ransack my magic act notes to find out how we did the trick. He asked me how Max pulled a hat out of a rabbit.
You are Blake Alexander?
Are you surprised to find me lurking in my own office?
No, just I wasn't expecting this den of monsters.
You stumbled upon the anteroom of the afterlife. The monsters aren't monsters, not all of us. Hey, the necromancer snapped, sensing another jab at him. What? The Reaper Blake smiled at getting a rise from his son again. Freddy's harmless as a kitty cat, he's just claustrophobic. Only problem here is Dante. It looks like I'm in for some more paperwork because you broke in. You are right there. What will we do with the phony then? Lance, you guide him out of the building and back to the street through the enchanted garden. He will only come back here if he's unaccompanied in the garden I enchanted, so anyone who strays there from here comes back. I didn't expect people would want to break into the afterlife. The necromancer led Fognini to the street after saying thank you to Blake for being understanding and goodbye to them. Freddy was judged and put in a big room, while Blake returned to his office with a new pile of paper to sign, to his great annoyance.